and Nicola Sturgeon has resigned as Scotland's First Minister. She says her decision comes after a long-term assessment, but maintains that she will remain in office until her successor is elected. Well, this surprise decision has forced the Scottish National Party into turmoil as it's triggered the party's first leadership contest in nearly 20 years.
In my head and in my heart, I know that time is now, that it is right for me, for my party and for the country. And so today I am announcing my intention to step down as First Minister and leader of my party. I have asked the National Secretary of the SNP to begin the process of electing a new party leader, and I will remain in office until my successor is elected.
Sturgeon was the First Minister since November 2014. That's more than 8 years in the role. This also makes her the country's longest-serving First Minister. She guided her party through a series of resounding electoral victories. Sturgeon also managed to avoid the COVID-19 mistakes made by politicians in Westminster. But in recent months, her political career witnessed a few bumps. First, when the UK Supreme Court blocked her move of seeking a new independence referendum, and a row over transgender rights that angered even more of her own supporters. But according to political analysts, Nicola Sturgeon will be remembered as one of the most dynamic politicians of her generation. She devoted her life to the idea of independent Scotland, and she believes a new leader would be better to continue the movement. However, the fact that she is leaving with no obvious successor in place, according to the UK's top pollster, the new SNP leader may struggle to unite the party under an independent strategy.
There is no obvious successor. There is no obvious person who has the charisma of Nicola Sturgeon and Alex Salmond, who might be able to do the job and to push support for independence up. But that's the task that will face them. And the risk, undoubtedly, is that the party can't find somebody who can provide it with the kind of leadership that both Mr. Salmond and Ms. Sturgeon have provided it with.
Politicians across the political board reacted to Nicola Sturgeon's resignation announcement. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak thanked her for her service and vowed to continue to work with the Scottish Government.
Well, I've consistently said that I think what people in Scotland want to see is their two governments, the Scottish Government and the UK Government, working constructively together on the priorities that really matter to people. And that's about reducing inflation, increasing our energy security, driving growth and creating jobs across the United Kingdom. That's what people's priorities are, and that's what I will continue to do and work on with whoever the new First Minister is.
Well, for more on this story, joining us live from Belfast, I'm delighted to be joined now by Corey Brown-Swan, a lecturer of comparative politics at Queen's University Belfast. Thank you for joining us. So, lots to talk about. Were you surprised then by this?
I think this came as a surprise to most people. We started hearing rumblings early yesterday morning that the First Minister would have a press conference in Bute House, and that was significant because it suggested that this announcement pertained either individually to Nicola Sturgeon or to her government. An hour later, we heard rumours that she was stepping down as First Minister, which is not entirely unexpected, but it's a much sooner than we might have expected. She told BBC's Laura Kuenssberg 3 weeks ago that she had plenty left in the tank and intended to stay on for longer. So I think we had expected some sort of transition, perhaps after a UK general election or perhaps after the next Holyrood elections, but certainly nothing on this timescale.
Do you think Scotland's dream of independence now, or Sturgeon's dream, I should say, do you think that is completely dead?
No, not at all. There's 45% of the population. Polling varies over time, but that seems to be the floor of support for independence. It could go much higher. There are people who are mobilized in a larger yes movement and around the SNP who've set their heart on independence. I think it might be more difficult to obtain, but right now it feels there isn't a clear path forward for any leader for another referendum, given the Supreme Court's ruling and given the UK's government's refusal to grant the powers to have a referendum. So I think any leader, even Nicola Sturgeon staying on in post, would face quite significant obstacles in pursuit of that dream.
Okay, Corey, it's something we could talk about all day. Thank you so much indeed for joining us with your expertise. That's Corey Brown-Swan, a lecturer at Queen's University, Belfast, live from Belfast. Thank you.